What is up, YouTube? It's Kingfisher745, and welcome to the official Doctor Doom review. This should be quite similar to the Heimdall review, in that I do plan on going through each ability, showing it in use, and giving you my impression or opinion of it. First up will be his passive abilities. So there you see his impending doom. It's a countdown which starts at 12, and once it's finished, you can fire his Doom Cannon level 9. This countdown can be reduced by using tech actions. So most of Dr. Doom's abilities are tech actions, except for his level 2 multifunction ability. Those are both magic attacks. Next we have Ring Imperial. You'll notice that Dr. Doom tries to place this and cower on all the enemies, and he will continue to do this throughout the battle. The Ring Imperial / Cower combination will cause your enemies to take damage at the end of every round, and it also will occasionally make them skip their turn. So this is an incredibly powerful passive, but previously this passive ability also caused Dr. Doom not to take any debuffs. Now this was a bug, and it was fixed. It was not a nerf. It simply wasn't working as intended. And in my opinion, Dr. Doom still works just fine, and I've been using him on offense and winning pretty much every battle. But I will say I personally do not use him on defense, so I really can't tell you how well that works out after the fix. I do have to say the Mystic really can shut him down, and there's a few other characters that he does have problems against. I do think that if he should be immune to any effect, he should be immune to obsolete tech. It's kind of ridiculous that one weapon can shut down Dr. Doom, who counts as 2/3 of your team. Next, we're going to move on to his level 6, his Summon Servo bot's multifunction abilities. And I will start with his bottom attack, which is Summon Servo Minion. It's a summon attack, so it does not trigger counter or retaliation effects. These abilities are perfect for attacking any team that may be full of infiltrators, or any characters that do a lot of counterattacks. They also are all setup moves. So for example, this one gives focused attacks, so the next attack is guaranteed to crit and ignores defense. And lastly, this places staggered on all the enemies, so they cannot dodge most attacks and ignores most avoidance effects. Alright, so let's check this ability out in action, and you'll see it does place that staggered debuff on all the enemies, and gives us focused attack. You'll probably find yourself using different servo attacks depending on what the enemies are or what empowered ISO 8 they may have. For example, the second summon servo attack, the Servo Basher, can stun the enemy, but if they're full of relentless ISO, you may want to go with a different attack instead. But even if that's the case, it does enrage Dr. Doom, so he'll see an increase in all of his stats, and this of course will help out his next attack as well as his defense. However, the downside for this one is the fact that it only lasts for one round. So once again, we do have sort of a setup attack, and also something that may help out in a pinch if you do get that stun to work. Now moving on to our last summon attack, it's Summon Servo Driller. And this is my absolute favorite of the three. This attack causes pummeled on all the enemies, so reduces their evasion every time they're attacked. So that's already pretty good, but the best part is, it gives close quarters combat, so basically the scrapper effect. The next single target attack grants one follow-up attack. Attacks have greatly increased chance to hit, and attacks ignore most avoidance effects. So what happens is, after you use this, you can attack with any of his other attacks, and you'll gain a follow-up Arc Lightning. That's pretty amazing, the fact that you get an extra attack, and also it does count for his impending doom countdown. That's what makes this my favorite of the summon attacks, and I'll even clue you in on a further combination. Let's say there's a character out there that you really want to put impaired and weakened on. Maybe there's a Hulk or someone like that, but there happens to be a protector in the way. Well, you can use your Summon Servo Driller, and then use your stealthy magic attack, or a Trifurcator. He will follow it up with a level 1 Arc Lightning, and you'll get that impaired and weakened debuff on the character you want it on. Now the only downside to this attack, of course, is the fact that it is a ground attack, so it's going to miss flyers, but I'll be honest with you, I still use it even if there's a flyer on the other team. I definitely see it as a worthy attack. Alright, next we're going to move on to the Trifurcator, and that's because this is going to be an ability that you want to use early in the combat as well. And that's because the more health that your opponent has, the more HP this attack will take away. It takes away about 1/3 of the enemy health. Oh, and besides health, it does drain stamina as well. It is a stealthy attack, and it also restores stamina to all party members when used. So that part of it could come in pretty handy, especially in a long PvP fight. Say against a team using Rescue or someone really annoying like that. But anyways, it's a pretty good ability when used in PvP, but it's exceptional when used against a group boss, or anyone with a ton of health like that. If you happen to be having trouble taking that 5% off a boss, well, you can just use a Trifurcator and it's pretty much done. If only it took 1/3 off of a group boss. But well, that would be way too overpowered. Now moving on to the other function of his level 1, that's going to be Arc Lightning. Arc Lightning will probably be your primary attack with Doom, and that's because it has no cooldown and it's always available. Also, if you do any follow-up attacks or any counter-attacks, it's going to be with Arc Lightning. For level 1, it's capable of doing quite a bit of damage, and it also causes impaired and weakened. And if you were wondering why I have high crits on all these ranged attacks, that's because I equipped the Distant Empowered ISO 8 on Dr. Doom. This causes ranged attacks to have higher crits. But like I was saying, this move is pretty awesome. The damage output is no joke, and those debuffs are absolutely incredible. It can take the sting out of those heavy hitters like Hulk, because it stops them from critting, and also lowers their damage by a lot. If you want to hang around in battles with some of those heavy hitters, you're going to need to use this effectively. For example, if you know the Juggernaut's going to use that level 9 Surge of Sidorak, and Mountain Crusher you back to the Stone Age, you need to hit him with the Arc Lightning. Put that impaired and weakened on him, and you can live through the attack. Now it's time for his level 2 multi-function abilities. They're both magic attacks, but we will start with the Steel Essence. You'll probably find yourself using this ability every time it's off cooldown, and that's because it does rejuvenate your team. This is a stealthy attack which restores health to all party members when used, so Dr. Doom and your agent will both gain back health. For me, it's roughly 10k each, but that's not all this ability does. It also drains the energy of the opponent, so all stats are reduced, and then it gives Doom full of Doom, all stats increased. So this sounds pretty amazing, but what could be the downside, you say? Well, there are two in my opinion. One, it's a magic attack, so it does not lower that impending Doom countdown. And two, I don't know if it's just my bad luck or what it is, but it misses more than any other move that Doom does. Also, of course, characters like Damon Hellstrom or Dr. Voodoo can severely hamper your magic attacks. But all types of abilities and pretty much everything has its counter, so that's not that big of a deal. My biggest issue has to do with that miss rate, and I'm really not sure why. Like I said, it may just be some bad luck. Doom's other magic ability is really amazing once that Mystic Shroud comes down, or if you're facing Nightcrawler, the Pious Prayer. Whatever the case may be, as soon as you're able to put debuffs on the opponents, this ability becomes amazing. It has Chaos Shot, so it has a chance to cause bleeding, burning, chilled, dark void, ISO 8 corruption, poisoned, or radiation exposure, and it can practically cause them all in one shot. Just watch some of these applications. So there, we just hit Beast, and his dots are going to go on for a while. And then the same thing can be said for Quicksilver, so we hit him for a decent amount of damage, and then all these dots, they seem to never stop. So as long as they don't get removed, you can pretty much count all that damage in with the initial attack. Also, you could couple this with a weapon like the Chaos Shot, or even the Atom Smasher. Oh, and it does help build up Arcane Infusion as well. This is a buff that Doom gains, which increases the damage of Doom Cannon, and it's increased by using magic actions. There's really not much more to say about this one, other than the fact that it places a ton of dots, and it's a pretty nice ability. Alright, and now the moment that many of you may have been waiting for is level 9, the Doom Cannon. As you can see damage-wise, this one's going to be a pretty devastating strike, so I'm going to save that one for the very last attack of the video. But first, I do have a few important things to say about this level 9. Overall, I'm pretty unimpressed with it. This is one of my biggest problems with Dr. Doom. I believe they need to change it, most likely by lowering the countdown. For one, just to fire this maneuver, you need to have so much time and effort put in. Most of the time the battle will not make it long enough to fire it. And when you do get to fire it, you'll probably have focused on only tech actions, meaning you didn't use those magic actions to buff it. So this is the kind of damage you'll see. And that's pretty pathetic. I believe for Dr. Doom's ultimate ability, which takes 4 to 5 rounds to fire, it should finish the entire wave of enemies. In my opinion, Havoc and Deadpool can both do so much more damage with so much less effort. And if you're saying, well, that's a single target attack, well, all I need to do is point to Modern Thor. His Summon Thunder can do so much more damage on average, and that's on just his first turn. So in my opinion, make the Doom Cannon a little bit easier to fire, and lower that countdown. And or make magic attacks count as well. That way you don't have to choose between buffing the Doom Cannon's attack and lowering that countdown. Now with all that being said, it's finally time for our biggest Doom Cannon yet. It did take me quite a bit to build this up, but I thought it was really important for this video, so I made sure to keep at it until I got a really nice Doom Cannon. Oh, and I wasn't sure if I should do this, but for anyone who's reminded of Dragon Ball Z whenever you see the word cannon, I give to you my Piccolo impression. Special Beam Cannon! Alright, so I lowered the volume, and I hope that was fine. We did manage that 71k hit, and that's going to be the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the review, and I want to thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, good luck, and take care.